Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has finally happened. Treyarch is nerfing the Titan. It has been long awaited. Months and months have gone by of me asking for them to finally nerf the Titan, and Tuesday it will finally happen. Yes, last night we got a massive set of update notes from Treyarch. This includes nerfs and buffs to weapons. It includes changes to specialist characters, changes to score streaks, and that is what we are going to be talking about today. We're going to be going through the entire set of patch notes, talking about what changed, how it's going to affect the game, and I'm guessing that this is actually going to be a pretty long video because the patch notes are really long. Which, by the way, I actually let you guys know about last night over on Twitter. If you want to stay up to date with everything Call of Duty and pretty much everything in my life as well, the best way to do so is my Twitter. I'll make it my first link down in the description, and if you don't already follow me over there, like I said, it's a great place to stay up to date on Call of Duty news, my thoughts on Call of Duty, and on top of that, what's going on with this channel and what's going on in my life. So if you sound at all interested in that, like I said, my Twitter will be the first link down in the description, and if you have Twitter, check that out. But without further ado, let's dive in and look at this update. So there's a couple of things you need to know about this update. First of all, there's a lot of updates for PC only. So I'm not going to talk about all of the PC only updates, but I am going to put them all on screen. So if you see like a PC only update come on screen and you're a PC player, just hit that pause button. It'll be on there. There's just a lot of PC only changes, and it would take me that much longer to go through all of those. Speaking of which, the first weapon we're looking at here is the ICR-7, and this is a PC-only update, and as far as an update, this one is actually going to get a buff on PC. The other thing that you have to know about these patch notes is they don't go live until the 19th, aka Tuesday, when the big update for Season 3 is happening, when we're getting new maps, changes to Blackout. All of these changes are coming in that patch Tuesday on the 19th. They just gave us the patch notes earlier. Now, second weapon is the Rampart 7. This is one of the most surprising ones to me. So this one got improved max damage range from 37.6 yards to 41.6 yards. So an actually pretty big update to the Rampart there. And that one surprised me because I thought the weapon was already pretty good, but now it's going to be even better. In my opinion, is going to be one of the top tier weapons in the game. A similar update happened to the KN57 where its max damage range went from 15.2 yards to 17.3 yards. So a bigger update to the Rampart, but a decent update to the KN57. This is why I said I was so surprised, because even though I already thought the Rampart was better than the KN57, it got more of a buff than the KN did. So just keep that in mind. However, even a bigger update happened to the VAPR. And again, this one surprised me because with high cal and rapid fire, I thought the VAPR was already pretty good. But the VAPR got improved 5-hit kill range from 34.7 yards to 50 yards. So almost 15 yards difference. That's an absolutely huge difference with that 5-hit kill range. On top of that, improve aim down sights idle sway to sway less. So not only are you going to have better range, it's also going to be easier to aim the VAPR. So all around, this weapon is going to get a lot better, which, like I said, I'm surprised by because I already thought the VAPR was a pretty good gun. Now after this is the Maddox, and the Maddox had a lot of changes happen to it. So first of all, reduced recoil stability for the first 5 shots in the bullet pattern. I think this is a pretty good nerf for the Maddox because the Maddox has a really good rate of fire and almost operates as like a SMG with pretty decent range. Now it's going to take a lot more skill to use this at a range because there's going to be more recoil for the first 5 bullets. Like I said, I think that's a pretty good nerf. The second thing is the Echo Fire Operator mod has improved recoil stability. I also think this is good because the operator mod for the Maddox kind of sucked. So now this is going to make it a little better. Also, they made some changes to the attachments for the Maddox. So first of all, the Quick Draw reduced aim down sights in speed. Quick Draw 2 reduced aim down sights in speed. So in other words, with Quick Draw, you're going to be aiming down sights slower than you previously would. On top of that, the stock reduced aim down sights move speed. So you're going to be moving slower with stock on. And then finally, the ELO has reduced recoil stability. So if you use the ELO, there's going to be more recoil on the Maddox, which is pretty insane, but just keep that in mind if you're creating a class for it. So on top of that, they also reduced the max damage range from 23.6 yards to 20.8 yards. So once again, a big nerf there as well. As far as the Maddox goes, it is a lot worse. The gun itself is worse, and almost every single attachment I used on this weapon is now worse as well. The only thing that's better is the operator mod. So I think you're going to be seeing a lot less of the Maddox in multiplayer, like a lot less, which honestly I think is pretty cool to change up the meta like that. I've seen a ton of Maddox for the past couple months. Now there's going to be other assault rifles that are much better, like the VAPR, like the Rampart that we talked about earlier. So honestly, I think that's probably one of the biggest nerfs out of all of the weapons. But up next, we have the MX9. So for the MX9, you got an improved 5-hit kill range from 5.5 yards to 7.6 yards, and improved aim down sights in speed. In other words, you aim down sights faster. So honestly, I don't think this is enough of a buff. It's a buff, and the gun's going to get better, but I still think that these are some of the worst weapons of the game that we're going to be looking at coming up, like the MX9, like the GKS. I think they could have used a little bit more love as far as damage and fire rate went, not necessarily just that 2-yard difference in the range. But hey, that's just my opinion. A similar update to the GKS, improved 5-hit kill range from 2.7 yards to 5.5 yards. This one is absolutely not enough. I still think the GKS is one of the worst weapons in the game, and really don't think this is going to change that. But at least it's a start. After this, we have the Spitfire. This is a weapon that a lot of people wanted to see nerfed to all oblivion. So for this, we have reduced max damage range from 9.7 yards to 7.6 yards. On top of that, reduced aim down sights move speed with stock. With extended mags, reduced mag size, and finally fast mags, reduced reload speed. So a big nerf, but is it enough? I think this weapon is still going to be good, probably the best SMG, but it won't be as good as it previously was. Now, it still has the fire rate, and the fire rate was really what made this weapon amazing. However, with the reduced extended mag size, they don't say how much, and we won't find out till Tuesday. That could make a pretty big difference with this weapon as well. So we'll have to wait and see. It's going to dethrone it a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see how good it still is. So after this, we have the Cordite. This one's an interesting one. So first of all, the belt-fed operator mod reduced the overheat cooldown speed. So I think what that means is that when the actual belt-fed mag overheats, it's going to take longer for you to be able to actually shoot again, which I think is fine. And then the second thing is grip, reduced recoil stability. So the gun's going to be a little bit harder to aim when you have grip. There's going to be a little bit more recoil. So actually a nerf to the Cordite, what actually surprised me. I thought it was in a pretty good spot before, but I guess it got a little bit of a nerf just to its attachments. After that, we have the Daemon 3XB. This is the burst action SMG, and it actually got a buff. It improved max damage range from 6.9 yards to 9 yards. And honestly, with the nerfs and buffs that have just happened to SMGs, this is actually one of the best SMGs in the game now. I think by a pretty good amount. Now, the final SMG is the Saug, and this one got a massive, massive nerf to basically all its movement speed abilities. So, first of all, reduced sprint out speed, just in general, it now matches the rest of the SMGs. Reduced base movement speed to now be the same as the rest of the SMGs. So, that was two things that the Saug was really good at. You could move fast with it, and you could shoot fast with it. No longer is that the case, it's the same as the rest of the SMGs. On top of that, stock, reduced ADS move speed. Stock 2, reduced ADS move speed. So once again, with those attachments, you're not going to be able to move as fast as you previously could. One of the things that made the Saug good. On top of that, grip had reduced recoil stability, so it's going to be harder to aim even if you're using grip. And then finally, for console only, the dual wield operator mod, you have reduced hip fire accuracy and reduced max damage range from 11.1 to 8.3 yards. This is insane. That's a big nerf for that. So I don't think the dual wield is going to be nearly as good as it was before, and this weapon's going to be much more difficult to use because what made the Saug good is how easy it was to duck, dodge, dip, and dive around enemies while you shot at them, and that is no longer going to be the case. So a really big nerf to the Saug there as well. In fact, it honestly seems like this Saug got nerfed more than the Spitfire, which is kind of surprising if you ask me, but we'll have to wait to see how it plays out and wait to see how it feels on Tuesday the 19th when this patch actually comes out. Moving on to tac rifles, this was the most surprising one to me. The Auger DMR, my favorite weapon in the game, got a huge buff. So you got improved ADS move speed, so you're going to be able to move faster while you shoot at people, strafe better, and on top of that, improved firing speed. It's going to have a faster fire rate. This is going to be one of the best weapons in the game. I already thought it was. I put it as the third best weapon in the game on my previous top 5 weapons video. This may be the best weapon in the game now. We're going to have to wait to see how much they buffed it on Tuesday, but this is incredible. On top of that, the double tap operator mod has improved firing time between shots. I can't believe this buff. This weapon is going to be godly. You're probably going to see me using it even more than I already do on the channel, so I was pretty excited about this one. The ABR 223 got a buff. It's got improved ADS move speed and improved sprint out time. In other words, you're going to be able to move faster while shooting, and you are going to be able to shoot faster after sprinting. And then finally, the Swordfish, improved ADS move speed, and with Quick Draw 2, improved ADS in speed. So in other words, you're going to be able to aim down sights even faster with Quick Draw 2. So all around, Tuesday is going to be a pretty good day for the tactical rifles, but an incredible day for the Auger. Also, I just realized that we haven't even got through all the weapons yet, and the video is 11 minutes already, so sorry for the long length of the video, but hopefully you enjoy it, hopefully you find it informative, and if you do, please hit that like button. But it is now the moment you have all been waiting for, the Titan. So the Titan got reduced flinch resistance when being hit, so in other words, when you're getting shot, you will now flinch more, which is a good thing. Reduced max damage range from 46 to 38, and finally, stock reduced aim down sights move speed. This is a nerf, but I don't think it's enough of a nerf. Honestly, the two things that I wanted to see was increased recoil and reduced move speed just in general, because the thing with the Titan is there's very little recoil, and the flinch resistance is going to help with that, so it's going to be a little bit better when you are shooting at someone with a Titan. But the other big thing that it's really good for is you have the same movement speed with a Titan as an SMG, and it appears that they didn't change that. So the Titan is still going to be really good, not as good, but it's still going to be really good. We're just going to have to wait and see how it feels with that reduced flinch resistance. But there it is. The Titan nerf is there. Let me know if you think it's enough down in the comments. And that's pretty much it for the LMGs. The Hades got a little bit of a PC only change, but that's it. Similarly, the Paladin got a PC change only, but the Outlaw got a little bit of a buff. It has improved firing speed, and the Koshka got a little bit of a buff. It got improved ADS sway, so less idle sway, and with Quick Draw 2, improved aim down sights in speed, so you can aim down sights a little bit faster. Moving on to, in my opinion, the worst weapon in the game, the RK7 Garrison. This one just got improved all damage ranges. It was needed. Hopefully this thing's a little bit better now. After this, the most surprising thing of all is the MOG 12 buff. I'm guessing that this is actually going to be one of the best weapons in the game now. It's a really big buff. So first of all, Dragon's Breath Operator mod now does one quick blast of fire damage instead of damage over time. This increases its one-hit kill potential at certain close ranges, and is especially effective when paired with Choke Barrel. On top of that, you have an improved max damage range of 3.75 yards to 4.1. On top of that, you have a Quick Draw improved aim down sights in speed, and finally, the best attachment of all, the Barrel Choke, got improved accuracy, pellet damage, and max damage range. This gun with the Barrel Choke and Dragon's Breath is going to be really, really good now. In fact, I can't wait to try this thing out. It may be one of the best weapons in the game. We'll have to wait and see, but this is a really, really big buff. I'm guessing we're going to be seeing a lot more of the MOG 12, and quite honestly, I already thought the weapon was okay, so this is going to be insane. In other shotgun news, the strobe light got a nerf. A lot of people, including myself, are happy about that. This is reduced luminosity on visual light effect. So it is still going to affect your aim assist, but it's going to be easier to see your enemy now. Is this a good balance? We're going to have to wait and see how it feels. I'm kind of unsure. Personally, I wanted it to affect the aim assist less, but we're going to have to see what happens and how it actually feels on Tuesday. So those are the weapon changes. A lot of really big ones. In fact, the ones that I think are going to be affected the most negatively are going to be the Maddox and the Saug. On top of that, the Spitfire and Titan will be worse, but I still think they'll be really good weapons. The Maddox and Saug, I think that's going to affect them both pretty damn hard. The other weapon that I think is a big buff include the MOG 12, the shotgun, and the Auger. I think those are going to be the two come out of nowhere really good weapons moving forward. But they might be changed in the future, but as of right now, that is what we are looking at for weapons. Moving on, we have specialist characters. So not a lot of changes to specialist characters, but I do think that there's some good ones here. So to start off, one that a lot of people have asked for is the Seeker. So the Seeker greatly reduced Seeker's hit points. It can now be destroyed within one bullet. So really, really easy to kill. And then reduced detection range against enemies with cold-blooded. So cold-blooded will now be a little bit more of a counter to the Seeker than before. Now the one thing that they didn't nerf for profit is the Tempest. The Tempest is still going to be godly after the update, which I was kind of surprised about. Another one that I was definitely happy to see is the 9-bang. So first of all, reduced visual opacity of screen flash when hit by the 9-bang. In other words, your screen won't go completely white now. You're going to be able to see a bit. Also, players will no longer raise their hand when flashed if they have Tactical Mask. So Tactical Mask is more of a counter than it was before. And then finally, players can now change stances while flashed. This is awesome. Now, if you get hit with a 9-bang, you can actually put up a little bit of a fight. You can lay down, crouch, try to hide at least a little bit, which I think a pretty good upgrade. On top of that, you'll be able to see a little bit better. So this is the one I'm most excited for as far as specialist goes. I'm very happy they did this. Hopefully it balances it a little bit. I still think the 9-bang will be ridiculously good, but like I said, this will help. One change that they made to all specialists is that active specialist weapons now lose all cooldowns on round change. So what this means is that if you call in a purifier at the end of the round, and let's say you have half of the time left, it used to kind of save that up towards your next charge. This will no longer do that. So if you use your weapon at the end of a round and don't get to use the whole thing, it won't be saved at all going into the next round. So you really want to be wary of time when using your weapons. And I think this is fine. I think this is good. It will reduce specialist spam just a little bit, which I like to see. After this, we have two pieces of equipment. First of all, the frag grenade. This one's simple, just increased damage. In other words, the frag grenade's going to be a little bit better. That being said, not a ton of people use it, so I see why they're giving it a little bit of a buff. And then the other piece of equipment is concussion grenades. So this one is players can now stun themselves with their own concussions, which I think is completely fair. And players will no longer raise their hand when affected by concussions when using Tactical Mask. So very similar to what we saw with the 9-bang before. And I think both of these are very fine changes to the concussion. After this, we have perks and gear, starting off with the acoustic sensor. So this one once again got nerfed pretty huge. So reduce the ranges at which acoustic sensor can detect enemies and the range where it can detect enemies with dead silence. So this thing already got nerfed to all oblivion to where it's useless, and now it's getting nerfed even more. This is a piece of gear you should never use now. It just basically doesn't work. I honestly think Treyarch should just pull out their nutsack and just say, you know what, we're removing this completely because it doesn't work in the game. I don't think it needs to be in there. I think it can just be removed. But I guess they don't have the balls to do it, so they're just nerfing it to the point where it's useless. Next up, we have Tactical Mask, and this one got a buff in a couple of interesting ways. First of all, players now recover faster after being hit with the Tempest. I think this is a good thing, a little bit of a counter to the Tempest, kind of, a little bit. And also, players no longer raise their hand when hit by flashes and 9-bangs, we knew this. And then a little bit of a nerf, Tac Mask no longer provides resistance to radiation or fire. And the reason for that is the next perk, Flak Jacket. So now Flak Jacket, you have the fire and radiation resistance that Tac Mask used to have. And honestly, I think this makes a lot of sense. I think the reason why they did it is they figured that Tac Mask already counters enough stuff so that Flak Jacket should counter more, including fire and radiation. So I think this makes a lot of sense. And then Cold-Blooded, the next perk, we kind of already talked about this one, but reduce the range at which an enemy's Seeker can detect a player. So we already talked about that. The Seeker will have much more difficult of a time detecting someone with Cold-Blooded on. That's all it does. And then that's it for perks. After this, we have a lot of buffs to Scorestreaks. So this is the last thing we're actually going to talk about, but we'll go through it as quick as possible. So first up, Lightning Strike reduced the delay between targeting locations and the jets arriving. So in other words, after you call it in, those jets are going to get there faster, and in other words, hopefully get you some more kills. After this, Sentry, this one got a massive buff. So first of all, improved damage. Second of all, improved the time that the Sentry will remember a target after losing the line of sight. And 3, improved the range at which the sentry will detect enemies within a 360-degree radius. They're really trying to make the sentry a viable kill streak, and we'll have to see if it actually works. After this, drone squad's got improved damage. This one's pretty simple. It's just going to kill people faster. After this, Sniper's Nest. This one's increased the number of rockets required to destroy the Sniper's Nest by 1. I think this is actually a pretty good buff. I think the damage and the amount of people it kills is already pretty good. It was just a little easy to destroy. I think now it's pretty much perfect. After this, we've got the Mantis Improved Explosive Damage Radius. This is actually not the buff I think the Mantis needs. I think it needs a movement speed buff, and I think the AI needs better targeting. Other than that, I think if you control a Mantis, it's pretty good, but when it's AI controlled, it's pretty terrible. After this, we've got the Thresher, so improved chain gun explosive radius and damage, and finally, improved health of vehicle to balance the damage dealt against enemy FMJ2. In other words, it's probably going to take more than one Paladin shot with FMJ2 to actually destroy it. We tested that on 10 Things You Didn't Know About Black Ops 4, and yes, you used to be able to do that. As far as this one goes, I still think the Thresher is going to be underpowered. I don't think the problem is the explosive damage radius or the damage it does. I think it's the targeting of the Thresher just isn't good enough, and that's how they should buff it, but we'll have to wait and see. And the most surprising one to me is that the Strike Team got a buff. It got both improved awareness radius and improved health regeneration rate of Strike Team members. I already thought it was hard enough to kill the Strike Team members. Now it's even more difficult. So Strike Team probably gonna be one of the best kill streaks in the game, I'm guessing, because now they're gonna basically have aimbot through walls since they have an improved awareness radius. It's going to be a really good score streak. I recommend using it after this update. And the final thing for hardcore players, Scorestreak team kills will no longer count towards team kill kick limit in modes where friendly fire is enabled. So you hardcore players, you're now more easily able to use something like an AC-130 without having to worry too much. And then the final thing that this little patch note update entailed is they let us know that on Thursday is when League Play will officially be coming out. So if you're a competitive player and you're looking forward to playing that, Thursday is the day for that. And that is the patch notes. A lot of things changes. I'm super happy about the 9-bang changes. I think it's great that they are buffing score streaks. And most of the weapon changes I'm pretty happy about. I think the Titan could have been nerfed a little bit more. I was surprised with how much the Saug got nerfed. And honestly, a little bit surprised with how much the Maddox got nerfed too. But we're going to have some new pretty good weapons. The VAPR is going to be really good. The Ramparts are going to be really good. And I think the Auger is going to be incredible. And so is the MOG, the shotgun. So it's going to change up the meta. It's going to be new. It's going to be exciting. And I'm pretty fired up for this update to actually come out on Tuesday. But if you disagree, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you're excited for this update, let me know what you think of it. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think of the balance. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Let me know down in the comments. Also, I know this was a long video, but if you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. It took me forever to get all these notes together, put the video together. So like I said, if you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel and like what you see, the best way to stay up to date on all my videos is make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications turned on. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.